Food bloggers, hi, how are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Eat Blog Talk podcast. This is the place for food bloggers to get information and inspiration to accelerate your blog's growth and ultimately help you to achieve your freedom, whether that's financial, personal, or professional. I'm Megan Porta. I have been a food blogger for 13 years, so I understand how isolating food blogging can be. I'm on a mission to motivate, inspire, and most importantly, let each and every food blogger, including you, know that you are heard and supported. Maybe you are planning time off because of a pregnancy or just because you want to take the summer off or Q4 off or whatever it is throughout the year. If you want time off your business, which I believe everyone should take time off occasionally, then you will love this episode. Callan Wenner from the Cozy Plum joins me, and she talks about how she has planned her maternity leave that's coming up here in a little bit. She really did strategize through the whole process. So she defined her goals. She worked backwards. She created a month-to-month calendar for the year. She stayed on track. She started outsourcing. And some of her outsourcing recommendations are really smart and things that I don't think a lot of us think about. She stayed efficient and organized. And a huge key point is that she stayed on top of her mindset and made sure that her mind was in the right place. Enjoy this one. It is a great conversation. It is episode number 469, sponsored by RankIQ. Hello there, food bloggers. Are you wanting to tap into additional revenue and improve your site experience for your users? If you're saying yes to all of this, then Chicory might be a really great fit for you. Chicory is a leading monetization platform for food bloggers, enabling you to integrate highly relevant, shoppable ads into your recipe content and earn revenue from top CPG brands. Chicory's hyper-contextual ads and shoppable technology will help you improve your site experience and engagement, allowing your readers to go from inspiration to checkout in just a few clicks. Enjoy easy installation and ongoing access to the Chicory team at zero cost to you. Chicory makes it easy to track your earnings, optimize your blog content using recipe insights, and connect with its team. Here is a testimonial from a happy Chicory user. Quote, "Cooking and baking is my passion. Chicory makes it simple and easy for me to share that passion with the Where is My Spoon audience, providing a seamless purchasing journey for my readers and an effective monetization model for my blog." End quote. That is from Adina Beck from Where is My Spoon. Head over to eatblogtalk.com/resources, scroll down to the Chicory logo and click that button that says Learn More About Chicory. Or you can go to chicory.co/food bloggers to learn more and to sign up. Now back to the episode. Callan started her food blog, The Cozy Plum, in spring 2020 with a focus on elevating classic baked goods and savory appetizers and small bites. After quickly honing in on her photography and videography skills, as well as thorough recipe development techniques, she was able to quit her corporate job after a year and a half to pursue the Cozy Plum full-time. Callan, good morning. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Megan?
I'm doing good too. Super excited to chat about taking extended time off. You might know that I love this topic and I love to take time off as well. But first, do you have a fun fact to share with us?
I do. Yeah. So when I was 25, I was in a motorbike accident, a charter bus accident, and a boating accident, all within a month and a half of each other.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding?
No, I quit my job and I booked a one-way ticket to Thailand. And this all happened just when I was traveling around the country. So
this all happened in Thailand?
Nobody was hurt. It was all fine. The boat accident was in Vietnam, but
oh my gosh. You just say it so nonchalant, like I was in 3 accidents, but we're all good.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But
oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Good memories.
And so I guess the moral of that is if you want adventures, then leave the country and, do those fun things that you normally wouldn't do at home or something.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, so glad to have you here. I know we have a super fun topic to chat about. Would you mind starting off, Callan, by just telling us a little bit about the Cozy Plum, your blog?
Yeah, of course. So like a lot of other people, I am a pandemic blogger. So I started my blog. I had no idea what I was doing in spring of 2020, just as sort of a hobby at that point. And once I realized, hey, this could be a lucrative business, I started diving in and getting more serious about it. It wasn't really until spring of 2021 that I really buckled down and got serious about it. And I was like, okay, I don't want to work in the corporate world anymore. And so I took the leap. I just worked, crazy hours for a while. And then last year in October, I did monetize my site. And I think I quit my full-time job in spring of 2022. So it was about a year of, double time.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really kind of a fast story too. So you must have worked your butt off.
Yeah, I think that's common for a lot of newer bloggers. There's so much really valuable information out there now. I think it's a lot easier for us. Not like easier, it's obviously blogging is a ton of work, but
I get you. Yep.
There's so much information for us to take advantage of.
I think it is easier these days versus like starting 5 years or further back.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have access to resources like podcasts and webinars and all the group, it just wasn't there. So now those people are having to do a lot of rework because we did everything wrong, or we didn't know, we just didn't know what we were doing. Not that we did it wrong, but yeah, I think that your generation of food bloggers definitely has an advantage, but I still think it's awesome that you did that so quickly.
Thank you.
So you're monetized and this is your full-time gig.
Yes, it is.
Amazing. Okay, so when did you get to the point where you realized that you liked or you wanted to take extended time off?
So I'm actually pregnant and I'm due in like the next 2 weeks. So it was when I found out that I was pregnant, and I had a little bit of a minor freak out when I found out that my due date was in October, because obviously Q4 is a very lucrative time for bloggers.
Yeah.
And so it was at that point that I said, okay, get past the freak out point and let's make a plan here so I can figure out how I can do this, because I do not want to be working when I have a newborn. I want to take those months off. I want to enjoy the time. But, all of this stuff that we're going to talk about today also applies to, anybody who wants to take time off for a vacation or, not working during the summer or not working during Q4, which honestly, I think is going to be great.
Yes. Oh, I think you were saying that you didn't, you didn't like the way the timing worked, but I was thinking, I think that sounds lovely not to have to work during Q4.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a panic just, at first thinking, oh my gosh, I'm taking off at a very serious time in my business. But now that
really a lot of the work goes into Q4 before Q4.
Yeah,
so Q4, I've found in recent years, it's I don't know, I don't do a whole lot extra besides just make sure things are flowing and all of that. Okay, so you obviously learned you were pregnant 9-ish months ago. So you've had this whole time to think through a plan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what are some of the first things you thought through?
Yeah. So the first thing, I said, okay, I need to define, what my priorities and goals are for the year, for the months that I wanted to take off. And so for me, because I had just monetized, last year, right before Q4, I really wanted to get one more solid year in Q4 under my belt for blogging. Obviously I also do partnerships and, photography things for other clients and whatnot. So maybe for somebody else, it might be, hey, I'm going to pick up as many projects as I can. But for me, it was really, I want to get one more solid year under my belt for the blog, highest income months for my website, especially during Q4. And so that's really just where I started. Okay, what do I want to focus on this year? And so that's what that was.
Okay, so maximizing your year and Q4 and just, setting goals. And then do you recommend just setting one big goal, a handful of goals? I tend to do way too much, I'll do this and this and this. But do you recommend just one thing to focus on?
I think it's really like what you can handle and also, just capacity. Do you have other team members? What does your business look like at that point? For me, I was also, the entire time I shoot for another food blogger as well. So I had all of that work that I also needed to complete every month. So for me, I felt like I couldn't really focus more on trying to obtain a bunch of partnerships in addition to what I already had on my plate, trying to get ahead on my own blog. Plus, I was shooting like 8 recipes a month for another food blogger. So that already felt like enough for me.
So figuring out what's digestible, what is doable, and then kind of working backward.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you create your calendar or your content schedule based on that?
Yep. So then I started off with like a month-to-month calendar. And, if you want to do this online, do it online. I wanted to print it all out and I wanted to be able to like rework it a few times and really just see what it all looked like, what my year was looking like. And so I built in, buffers and scheduled time off. So, I would say, okay, what do I want to like accomplish during this work week? And so I sort of started from December and worked backwards. I planned my summer as just strictly doing updates and stuff. I'm primarily a dessert blogger. So, people aren't baking as much during the summer. So I decided to focus summer during doing updates to summer recipes and then working backwards in Q4. So I think it was in like the beginning of July, I was testing and shooting my December recipes. And then I worked backwards from there. So then I did November and then I did October. Okay. And so within that as well, I was making the time to shoot the recipes for the food blogger as well. So that was like another week in there. But, I made sure that I built in buffers and scheduled time off so that I wasn't burning myself out. I took 2 vacations this summer. So I was still enjoying myself, but I was definitely also working more than ever, probably.
Yeah.
So like fun and relaxing did have to go out of the window sometimes. But, I just made sure that I really kept to my schedule as best as possible. And I did, which I'm honestly really proud of because it was a lot, for like 2 to 3 months, I was just going. So
it's worth it though. I think especially once you do it once and realize how worth it is to have that time off, whether it's for a baby or something else, I think that keeps you going the next time. But the first time you do it, it's like, oh gosh, this is a lot of work.
Yeah. So it definitely felt overwhelming looking at the months. But then, once I had, I knew, okay, I was doing December recipes this week. From there, then I have a little whiteboard, like a weekly whiteboard, and I would put, my daily tasks into that. So then, it was more manageable from that point. So it was sort of just like big picture. And then every week it would just go down.
This is my style. This is exactly how I work too, Callan. So you planned your content and then you also planned your freelance work. What else did you plan in there, like social media or anything else?
Yeah, social media, definitely. I will say in my first trimester, I did not feel good.
Yeah.
So I like really fell off the wagon for social media. But once I started feeling better, I got back to that. But yeah, social media was scheduled into that too, like YouTube shorts and all of my Instagram stuff and Facebook stuff. So.
And then newsletters, did you do those as well?
Yes, I did. I don't really, at this point, well, I have now written everything like through Christmas, but at that point I was still just writing them like on a biweekly basis. So.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else? So you do video too for every recipe or how?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Ambitious. Yeah. So you were doing not only, writing and recipe testing and making and photographing, but you're also doing video for every post. And then how much content do you create weekly?
So I try to do like 8 to 10 recipes a month for my own food blog. So I try to get about 2 in a week.
So you were busy. That's a lot.
Yeah. But I batch my content. So
batching is amazing. Yeah.
I think we'll get to that point.
Yes.
During this conversation.
No. And then that kind of leads me to ask, what did you get help with during your planning and also while you're going to be gone?
Yeah. So before I even, knew that we were having a baby, I knew that I wanted to start outsourcing this year just because it's just way too much. You have to. And so I started outsourcing, it's not that I don't enjoy writing, but it just takes so much time for me. And so that was the number one thing that I knew that I wanted to outsource. So I did outsource half of my blog post writing. So I outsource 4 of those a month. And then I also outsourced my photo editing because, other people can do that just as good, if not better than I can.
Yeah. And did you start outsourcing just when you learned you were pregnant or just recently, or how long has it been?
I had started in January on the blog post writing and then the photo editing as soon as I found out that I was pregnant.
It's a game changer, outsourcing those things that just take you a little bit longer, isn't it? Oh.
Yes. I was like, why did I wait so long to do this? Obviously, it costs money, but it's worth it. I'm getting so much time back in my schedule. And then very generously, my sister runs my Pinterest and then my husband does my Google Web Stories. And so, I know that I'm very lucky to have that. But, for all of these people, it was really important for me to create a strong SOP so that I could be as hands-off as possible. So I was recording videos of everything. I had written versions of everything just so it was all as clear as possible so that I wasn't having to answer extra questions and just making sure everything was really clear from the start that way. I was basically just like checking over things and, everybody knew their role and like what needed to be done. And so now moving into these months off, my blog post writing is like completely done. Obviously the photos are all totally done. So, and then I have the schedule for my husband to just continue doing web stories and the schedule for my sister to continue doing Pinterest. So my sister also is going to help me schedule some of my social media stuff, in like the couple weeks around when I'm having the baby. And then otherwise I'll have everything else scheduled and posted. So
I love that you mentioned your husband and sister because we get into this groove where we think we have to hire like a Pinterest expert or a web stories expert, and it does not have to be like that. If there's someone in your life who's relatively smart and organized and can learn quickly and they are looking for a little extra cash or just to help you out, I say give them web stories, Pinterest, because that is easily learnable and that is huge, right?
Yes, I totally agree. It took me a little while to be like, because they were always offering, what can I help with? What can I help with? I was like, nothing.
I'm good
myself, and then finally I said, okay, we need to take them up on this.
Yeah. No, it's so good to do that because you mentioned earlier, like just handing off a few little things has opened so much time for you.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we just need to let go of some of those things that we are not lit up by anymore.
Yes, that is absolutely right. And I feel like it takes, we're entrepreneurs. It's our baby. It's like we feel like we just have to be like doing all of this stuff ourselves. And it's just not the case. And I think the sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be.
Yes. And I think this is really hard for people who are micromanagers or kind of, like more on the controlling side. I am not like that. So it's really easy for me to just be like, here's a great SOP, take it and run with it, do an amazing job, and I trust you. I'm so grateful that I'm like that because I hear people all the time like, I can't give up photo editing or whatever it is because I just need to like, oh gosh.
Yeah. I definitely have things that I like in particular about, but that's why I created the videos and create the really strong SOP. So that it's all in there.
Okay, food bloggers, this is it. This is the last call to apply to join the 2024 eBlog Talk Mastermind program. At the time I am recording this, we only have 2 spots available. By the time this airs, I'm not sure if either of those spots will still be available, but head to eblogtalk.com/mastermind to find out. This powerful group will not open again until we take applications for 2025. So if this has been on your radar, now is your time. December 15th is the date that the doors will close officially. We have incredible guest experts lined up for 2024. We are getting geared up for our in-person retreat that is included with membership and that is happening at the end of January. Weekly calls are set to start right away in January. Things are in motion and powerful transformations are about to take place. Head to eatblogtalk.com/mastermind to apply. Now back to the episode. Okay, so how do you maintain a level of efficiency with all of this? Because what you've just said is a lot of work, including outsourcing and finding all of the people and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So efficiency is definitely, I am totally like a machine, and I know that. Like the amount of work that I can get done in a small amount of time is like a little bit ridiculous, I will say. But like for me, and this is going to be different for everybody, it really just comes down to like batching my work. That's just the way that I like to do it. So like I will take a whole week where I am in the kitchen and like I'm not doing anything else. I'm not like like culling my photos, anything like that. But when I'm in the studio, after like I've tested and stuff, I am combining process shots and videos and final like hero shots during all of my shoots. So like I am filming and then my camera automatically using my shutter can like go into that process shot. And so I'm getting everything done in one go. I am eliminating my distractions for my team members. Like I have email triggers set up for everything so that I'm reducing unnecessary communication. So like when my writer is done with a post, I get an email for that. When my sister has scheduled a Pinterest pin for the day, I get an email for that. Web stories, all of that stuff. So that way, I'm not having to spend time like in my email inbox and things like that. So yeah, I mean, just really like eliminating distractions. When I go into a shoot, I know that, I want to get 6 shots of this and I'm not going to let myself get stuck taking 25 photos of the same shot, no matter how good it looks. It's like, I'm like, get it done, move on.
Yeah.
And I try not to get into that like perfectionist nature. And honestly, the biggest game changer, which this, I guess, can sort of go along with outsourcing too, is if you have somebody who can help wash and dry your dishes and set up your ingredient shots, that is a game changer. I had my mom helping me through the entire summer doing this. And I probably would have been like 3 weeks. It would have taken me 3 weeks longer if I was doing this myself. So again, just like use the people that you have. Obviously I'm very lucky that I have my mom nearby who could come and help me with those things. But like, is there a kid in your neighborhood, that you can pay, throw some cash to, to do these things. But when every day, like when my mom would come in, I had a whiteboard in the kitchen. Here's what we're tackling today. Here's the recipes printed off. She would start getting those ingredient shots set up and then I was just go, go, go. And in between, she was washing and drying my dishes so I could just keep going.
There is nothing more satisfying than having someone in your kitchen helping you when you're a food blogger.
Yes. Yeah. So honestly, that was, thank you, Mom. Like, that was huge for me. So.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. And those little, like you just said it, use the people, or what did you say? Use the people you have or find the people in your life that can help and use that because they might benefit from it too.
Yes. They wouldn't offer if they didn't want to do it either,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I feel like there's always neighborhood kids who are looking for extra cash.
Yeah,
like even
absolutely.
If it's taking your dog for a walk because you're busy filming or whatever.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Like thinking outside of the realm of food blogging even and into the realm of your life and your house and your pets and your kids and all of that.
Yep.
And then how do you deal with keyword research?
Yeah, so I do all of that first. So before like I've even done all of my recipes and stuff or testing, I mean. And so I guess that was sort of like I worked that in whenever I was creating like my month-to-month calendars and was doing that at that time. So, I would start my research, for December and I would end up with about 20 recipes that I found, and then I would call it down from there, just based on, I wanted to be very, very strategic about it this year. In times it was like, oh, I really want to make this, but the search volume is low. Like, I'm going to make it anyway. I didn't really do that this year, which is hard just in terms of like, sometimes it stifles your creativity. But, my goal was to really like get ahead and make good money this year, make some really good posts. And so I would, from like the 20 that I would find, then I would dwindle it down to my 8 to 10 for each month based on, search volume and what I could rank for and stuff. So that was in when I was creating my month-to-month calendar.
It sounds like you're efficient in every aspect of your business because you need to be. If you're planning for time off, you kind of need to be that way.
Yes. And so then I would, give those spreadsheets, in my shared folder to my writer and stuff, and we have like a whole process for all of that as well. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, which leads me to, how do you communicate with a team? Because it sounds like you have quite a few different people working together. Mm-hmm. Do you have like a project management software? What do you use?
Yeah. So for just myself, I use Asana, and this is just to sort of help me keep myself on track. I have like a skeleton project basically that has, like my 8 recipes and all of the there's like 26 subtasks or whatever for each recipe in there. So I can really easily just copy and paste it, for each recipe in each month and stuff like that. And so that sort of just helps me keep on track for everything that like I need to stay on top of, because there is so much batching. So it's like, did I export and organize these photos? Have I edited this recipe in my Google Doc? Has it been loaded to my WordPress recipe maker card? So things like that. And then also that's also where I keep track of, okay, have I loaded the keywords for my writer? Have I added these photos into the folder for my sister to do my Pinterest? And then for my team, I use an Airtable, where I like load all of the relevant information, any links in there. So like the links to the keyword research, the links to the blog posts, all of that stuff. So then that's also where I have my email triggers set up. So they have like a little toggle. So when they're done with it, they'll, change it to done, and then I automatically get notified from there.
Oh, nice.
So I use that for everything, including, my social media schedule and all of that stuff.
So do you feel like you don't have communication that is not necessary? I mean, I'm sure you do sometimes, but do you feel like you've really minimized that?
Yes, definitely. At this point, it'll be like, maybe my writer will have like a question if I was just not very clear in something that I wrote in my keyword research spreadsheet, or my sister will be like, oh, hey, like you missed uploading this meatball recipe. Yeah. Just like little things like that. But otherwise, yeah, it's running like a well-oiled machine at this point. So I'm pretty happy. So I'm hoping, just through the next couple of months that it'll, continue that way. Right. So that's the goal, right? To get you do the things that you want to do, offload the rest, and keep the business running and keep the needle moving forward.
And I think you'll find when you get back from your leave that there are ways to even maximize and be even more efficient. I find that every time that I go, like I took the summer off, kind of. I mean, not really. I kind of worked a little, but for the most part, I took a big chunk of my summer off. And when I came back, I was like, oh, I didn't need to do this probably. I can probably change, like there are things that you realize through your time off that you can tweak to make your business more efficient.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And, once I have a child as well, that I'm going to be, I'm going to have to figure out even more, how are we going to get this done? So
yeah,
everything changes.
It'll be a puzzle, but it'll be a fun puzzle for you. And you mentioned a little bit ago, I loved that you said this. You're like, I'm a machine. I love that.
Yeah.
So what other kind of mindset tweaks do we need to make something like this happen?
Yeah, I think like you really just have to like have that go-getter attitude for a little bit. Like there are going to be days that you just don't want to do anything. And of course I have those. And, sometimes I'm not saying that I don't take those days sometimes where I'm just like, all right, I can't get it done. It's just not going to happen today. Like, let's take a reset and try again tomorrow. But, I think just like waking up every day knowing that, what you're doing, the extra work that you're putting in right now, it's temporary, and the reward is going to be there for those months that you get to take off and really just like enjoy yourself. But just, waking up every day and being like, okay, we're going to crush this day. We're going to crush. So and that looks different for everybody. Like I'll say up front, I am not like let me journal this morning and, let me put clothes on. Like, no, I am in my sweatpants. I just wake up and like immediately start working. And that's just what works for me, so. But I think finding out what does work for you is really important. So if that is journaling or getting your mind right or having that quiet time in the morning, do that so that you're ready to just like really tackle the day and just keep reminding yourself that, you can do it. It is hard because, blogging, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. And I feel like I have to tell myself that every single day. And like, I will literally say it out loud, marathon, not a sprint. So, you'll have these crazy to-do lists, but just because you're not tackling them all doesn't mean that, you're not getting the work done at the same time. So
I feel like mindset will either make or break a food blogger. It's like you can have the best of intentions and the best content calendar schedule laid out, the best knowledge about keyword research, but it really comes down to mindset and like what you do with that.
I totally agree. And, there's a lot of highs and lows that go with it too. So it's like really easy to be like, I love my job when things are going great and your numbers are great. And, Instagram for whatever reason is going great. And then when it's low because it is also just, it's lonely. But I think that I've found a really great group of fellow colleagues and food bloggers, that I talk to on the regular, and we check in with each other and, like have calls and text and stuff. And I think that's really important. So I think if anybody hasn't found like their community yet, that is also a huge game changer, because it can get really lonely. As much as my family and my husband is involved in my business, it's still hard for them to just totally understand like the ins and outs of everything that I'm talking about. So being able to, go to one of my friends and, use the jargon that I need to use to get my point across, like it matters. And, just having them remind you that you're doing a great job. And,
there's a level of understanding that people outside the food blogging industry can't really align with, right? Like you do need to have those people. Otherwise, the mindset piece is really hard to tackle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Then I was going to ask, let's see, one last question. You mentioned before scheduling in buffer time when you're planning all of this.
Yeah.
How much buffer time, and are you diligent about that? Like this schedule that you've talked about is crazy, like video, all the stuff, like outsourcing, finding the people. So how diligent are you? And do you feel like you're taking care of yourself enough?
Yes. So, typically I would, before like this year, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to work on Saturday. And then I would work all day Saturday. Yeah. And I made sure that I was absolutely not doing that this year because I knew that I would get burnt out. I knew that I'm growing a baby. I'm going to be really tired just as another level of it. But I stuck with it. There was maybe like one or two times where we just like weren't really doing anything that I did do a little bit of work, but otherwise I set my stuff down and I did not do it. And so I was mostly taking the weekends off, which was nice. And then, I would have like a whole day scheduled just for like grocery pickup and just like outstanding tasks and like getting organized for the week. So like if I didn't need to be in the kitchen like all day or all week, then I would like leave that Monday to just sort of like smaller tasks, not as much. But yeah, I stuck with it and I told myself I'm not going to overwork myself. So while the schedule was difficult, it was still super attainable for me.
Yeah, this is something I struggle with all the time, even as a seasoned food blogger who's been doing, I should know better, basically. But I still, I am in a spot now where I'm like, I did way, way, way too much in September and I'm paying the price now. I've been sick for 3 weeks, literally so mad at myself for letting this happen again. But you do, as a food blogger, need to be really stringent and really adhere to those deadlines you set for yourself, or things can get really ugly.
Yes. And that's so funny what you said about that you got sick or whatever, because pretty much right after I had finished all of my kitchen work, in the end of August, I think it was, I did get sick because it was my body just knew that, so.
Yeah, it does.
It's
your
real.
body
It's real.
follows suit. It's wait, we're overworking. You need a break. So I'm going to make you take a break.
Yep.
Oh gosh, it's no fun. Okay, what are we forgetting, Callan? Is there anything that you feel like we should mention before we start saying goodbye? This has been such a great conversation. I love it.
I think just it's hard to, when you're so invested in your business and it is your baby and you love what you do, it is hard to, give things up or enjoy that time off. And I'm not going to lie, I have a list of low-hanging fruit in case I want to work. I don't want to deny myself that, right? Because I love my job. I love what I do. So if there are times that I feel like I want to do something productive, I'm not going to deny myself that. But I think it's really important to just let go of the grind, enjoy the time off, because you have worked so hard. Everybody in this industry, I just see you working so hard, and, you deserve that time to be with your family or, sit on the couch and watch TV, whatever you want to do. So easier said than done. I know I'm going to have to remind myself. I know my husband is going to have to remind me, but I do think it's really important because you can just totally get pulled into that cyclone.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned your husband, because we get so into our businesses that it's really good to have somebody outside of the business to pull us out once in a while and say, I think you worked a lot today. You please put your computer down. When my husband says that to me, I'm so grateful. It's almost like you're stuck in this vortex and someone just needs to reach in a hand and just pull you out.
Yes, absolutely. Because the to-do list, it never ends. And so I can just be like, oh my gosh, I've been working all day. And next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock at night. And what am I doing?
Yeah, it's so true. It's a real struggle for us. Oh gosh, it never ends. But thank you so much for this. This is so good. Whether somebody is planning to have a baby or you're pregnant or you just want to take the summer off, you have plenty of time to make a plan. Listen to everything Callan said and stay organized, work on your mindset, find your people, be efficient. When you sit down to work, right? Don't mess around. That's a key point. Outsource, so many good things here. So thank you so much, Callan, for your time today.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, this was so fun. Do you have a favorite quote or words of inspiration to leave us with?
I do. And this sort of goes along with what we just ended with, is that your value is more than your output. This is something that I just really try to remind myself all the time. Even if I didn't cross off 25 things today, I'm still worthy. Did I do my best today? If you ask yourself that question at the end of the day and it's a yes, great.
I love that. Yeah. So when you're sick and you do one thing, then you should not feel guilty, right? I'm telling myself this right now.
Yes.
I did interviews today, so go take a nap.
Exactly.
Yes. We'll put together show notes for you, Callan. If you want to go look at those, you can head to eatblogtalk.com/the Cozy Plum. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah. So you can find me at thecozyplum.com for my website and blog. And then at the Cozy Plum for all of my social media, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, all the good stuff. So the Cozy Plum.
Nice. I love the name, by the way. It's so cute. Everyone go check out Callan's website and socials. And thank you so much for being here, Callan. And thank you for listening, food bloggers. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Eat Blog Talk. Don't forget to head to forum.eatblogtalk.com to join our free discussion forum and connect with and learn from like-minded peers. I will see you next time.